Alright, this is going to be a video on how to kill Dark Rolls. There's going to be a bunch of different options you can use against them. I'm actually going to go over all the top decks in the meta on how to kill them, but the first one's going to be Dark Rolls. Now, the easiest way to stop this deck is using Consecrated Light. With a level 1 Light monster, Dark monsters cannot be summoned. And when they attack this card cannot be destroyed, and you take no battle damage involving this card with a Dark monster. So you go summon it, and they can't play any Dark monsters, which means they can't play any Dark Rolls. They can't play monsters. They lose pretty much. I mean, that's just how it is. Now, like I said, it's a really easy to play monster. You just normal summon it, and that's all there is to it. It's splashable in almost every single deck, including Chaos variants, because it's a light monster. And you can reborn it and stuff and call the Haunted, so it's very good for that aspect. But that's one of your easiest ways of stopping the deck. The second option you have is DD Crow. Again, this is really good for the Chaos decks because it gives you a Darkening Grave and it can control the graveyard of your opponent. DD Crow is, you can pitch it from your hand to the graveyard to remove a card in their graveyard. I'm pretty sure all you players know what this is. And it's a really good option. Like if you play Twilight or Chaos, anything like that, your BLS is your Chaos Sorcerers, just play DD Crow. You can DD Crow their monsters, and when they think they're going to do something funny, you can veil it. I mean, there's nothing more painful than that. What else? Removal cards. Banisher of the Radiance, Macro Cosmos, and Dimensional Fissure. These cards are going to give you one hell of an edge against Dark World. If they don't have a graveyard, they don't have a game. That's just how it is. Without a graveyard, they can't special summon their monsters, they can't get their effect, they can't do anything. So with those removal cards, you can shut down Dark World really easily. These 5 cards in general will kill any Dark World deck you run into. Dark World is just not prepared to handle it. The best way they can handle Consecrated Light is by ditching Grapha for its effect and discarding it with a card. That's the only way they can really handle it. That's about it. When it comes to DD Crow, they can't do anything. Like, they don't have a response. That DD Crow is going to come down and rape their face, and there's nothing they can do about it. When it comes to Banisher of the Radiance, again, there's nothing they can do about it. You summon that Banisher, as long as you can protect it, they lose. They really can't do anything about it. They can set monsters in defense, but they're just going to get removed anyway. The most they can do is deprison or bottomless, maybe, if they can do that. But really, with all the destruction of backers and stuff in today's format, it really won't. It's really hard to kill that Banisher. As long as you protect it, that Banisher will wreck them. MST and Macros are the same way. They can MST it, but that's it. That's really it. That's all there is. Other than that, it's heavy stormable, I guess. I don't know what else to say. Like, it's really hard to get rid of it. And if they're not running MST or heavy, which I don't know why they wouldn't, but some of them are. Like, don't get me wrong. Some of them think, oh, well, I don't need that. I've got enough aggression to kill them. It's like, okay, whatever. If they're not running that, they really don't have an answer to that either. So those are probably the best 5 ways to counter Dark World. Now for agents. When it goes to agents, the best way to counter them, first of all, is Leeching the Light. Leeching the Light will give you a really good way to get over all their monsters. It's an honest for all your monsters. So not only does it provide you with a bunch of really high B-stick monsters, but it gives you a reliable honest against them. So it gives you a way to kill them very easily. Now, that's one of the best ways. Now, the second best way is, honestly, drain their hand. Now, when I say that, Summoning Curse is a decent option. I guess you could use Mind Crush because they do search a lot, so Mind Crush is a good option. Stuff like that. Without a hand, what agents boil down to is they summon really big monsters, but when they have no hand and you can wipe their field, that's game. Like, that's the biggest problem. They can play their Hyperion, their Christian, whatever, but the minute you stop that, they can't do anything. They don't have anything because they run out of hand. I mean, they, use all their hand to summon their other big monsters, and they really don't have much protection either. Their Gachi-Gachis will protect themselves, but the other monsters don't live very long. So when they play that Chaos Sorcerer and Hyperion at the same time, obviously Chaos Sorcerer first, followed by Hyperion. When they do that, just Dark Hole. That's all you gotta do. I mean, unless they're going to Solemn Judgment, they really don't have a response usually. So basically, you've got to control the field when you're playing agents. If you can control the field, you control the game. So that's definitely a way to get rid of them. Another good way to counter them is actually anti-removal. Now, a lot of people say, well, use removal against them. No, that doesn't do a lot. Anti-removal will really mess them up. Now, when I say anti-removal, I mean like Imperial Iron Wall. Now, you're probably thinking, what do you mean Imperial Iron Wall? Why Imperial Iron Wall? Well, they can't remove to special summon their Hyperion. They can't blow up anything. They can't special summon Chaos Sorcerer. They can't special summon BLS. You know, they can't do any of that. So that's probably one of the best ways to do it because it shuts down a bunch of their plays. It also makes sure they can't do their bottom, which is or their deep prisons. So you can really put them in a bad position with an Imperial Iron Wall. Another way to kind of counter them is spin cards. Their biggest move is go Venus into Gachi Gachi. It really is. That's their setup move. So if you can drop a Bryonic first turn and just spin them both, they really can't do much afterwards. Because they're sitting there going, great, I don't have another Shine Ball for the Venus, so I can only special summon one Shine Ball, and then my Gachi Gachi's gone. So remember, Bryonic is one of your best friends. I say in my Gadget deck, I use Compulsory. Compulsory on the Gachi Gachi, and that's about it. Game over. So basically, the ways to kill them is Leeching the Light, Field Control, and Bryonic. You know, as long as you can control what they're doing, they really can't do anything. And it's pretty easy because, like I said, they don't have a lot of monster destruction or monster protection either way. Like, they run a Dark Hole and like a Mirror Force and maybe a Torrential, but they don't run My Bodies or Starlight Roads or anything like that. So that's the easiest way to do that. Plants, Graveyard, Removal. So, you know, if I were you and I'm running anti-meta or a deck that can build off removal like Gravekeepers, you know, run removal on your side deck because removal is going to kill your Dark World enemies, it's going to kill your plants, it's going to kill all of that. Plants feed off the graveyard a lot. The Dandelion plays, the Lone Fire plays, the Debris Dragon plays, all that stuff. They feed off the graveyard. They really do. So if you can stop that graveyard, you can get a really good edge on them. Now, another problem with plants you're going to have is the really high beat sticks. They can pop out Black Roses pretty easy. They can drop their Titanials first turn. They can really pop out some big beat sticks. What you need to overcome is being able to negate all that or control it in some way. Best way to do it is Fossil Dino. Fossil Dino shuts that deck down so hard. Fossil Dino shuts down all the decks. So if you guys have Fossil Dinos, run them. Seriously. Dark Rolls can't special summon, so most of their cards are useless automatically. Agents can't special summon, so their Venus plays, and their Monster Reborn, and Christia, Hyperion, Chaos Sorcerer, and BLS, they're all dead cards. Their Venus is a 1600 normal summon, and then they try to attack over your Fossil Dino, which doesn't work, because you'll just kill it with something else, usually. And then when you come to plants, you normal summon that thing or set it, and you can gain some great control off of it. So really, you know, that's probably one of your best plays for Fossil Dino. Like the Fossil Dino can control the entire meta, but removal is probably one of your best bets for plants. Because as I said, they are grave-based. Now, the general synchro decks, there's Plant Synchro, Tengu Synchro, whatever. There's so many of them. Really, these decks are hard to deal with because there's not a lot to them. They go Synchro, 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 Synchro. That's all they do. That's why they're called generic Synchro decks. Fossil Dino is one of your best friends, obviously. But aside from that, you're really going to have kind of a hard time with them. They don't like to go down easy. That's why these decks are notorious for topping at Shonen Jumps lately. They have so much support, they can just keep synchroing. They just don't have to stop. They can synchro, 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 synchro. And there's no end to it. Tengu is a big part of that, stuff like that. So one way to stop them again is the Fossil Dino. Like, that's really one of your best options. What other options you have? Well, this is just my opinion. Some people say this is a good card. Some people say it's a crap card. Attention. Now, let me explain. Usually with these generic synchro decks, all their levels are different. Your Tengus are 4s. Your synchro, your tuners are like 2 stars or whatever. 1 star is a Globe Bowl. And usually they have to summon 3 monsters to get 1 monster out. Like, they'll go normal summon Tengu, Monster Reborn something, then special summon Globe Bowl by its effect. At this point, you can go activate Attention and declare Tengu. So all the others die, and all they have is a single Tengu. And they've already used the Globe Bowl's effect, so they can't bring it back. And as I said, that's all dependent on your situation. But Attention can really gain you some control in that aspect because they have all different levels. And they have to have more than one in order to start synchroing. So Attention can really gain you some advantage there. Same with Agents, actually. Attention is also a very good card against them. Because if you look at them, they all are different levels. And when they have a Gachi Gachi, a Venus, and a Chaos Sorcerer, or a Hyperion, and you're staring that in the face, a top deck's Attention can get rid of everything but the Gachi Gachi. So you can set the Attention, and they're going to attack you for game. Attention, declare their Gachi Gachi, and all the other monsters are wiped off the board. Very good play. attention can really save you from these kind of setups and scenarios.